Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video in Wild Rift. So today we're back with a Kai'Sa commentary guide, and as you guys can see up on screen, this is going to be the build that we're using. Now this is, as you guys can see, the build of the rank 7 Kai'Sa. If you guys need to see it again, rewind 5 seconds, pause the video, and check out the build itself, right? But basically the premise of the build is pretty simple. I'm not following his summoner spells, and I will be building boots after I built Finish Triforce, so it's not exactly identical to him where you build boots as a third item or slash after you finish your first 2 core items. I think that's way too late for boots. And also, I'm not taking ghosts. As you guys can see, I take cleanse because there's a ton of CC on the enemy team. So I definitely do want that cleanse. So we're straight into the action in the early game. We have the 1 HP onto the Seraphine. Seraphine, of course, is the support. I didn't really arrange the champions properly on the enemy side, so you do see like a Seraphine Lux in the bot lane and a Sivir as the jungler and that kind of weird stuff. But yeah, here, nice bait by Seraphine with the heal. Honestly, she wasn't baiting, right? It was just me who got greedy and tried to flash forward to get the kill on her, but she pops the heal. Nice reaction time, I guess is what I should say. And overall, we end up pretty much losing out on the trade, and I'm also still level 1, but it's fine, you know, we trade some of the spells. My side use everything other than cleanse, whereas on the enemy side, everything is used other than Sivir's flash, which is of course a very, very crucial spell, so that's nothing to scoff at. So I think we are a little bit on the losing end. Now the thing is that Kai'Sa is not a very good laner, but neither is Sivir, right? But in terms of the lane, Sivir is probably better than Kai'Sa because Sivir can control the wave, she can shove in the wave, whereas Kai'Sa cannot really control the wave until she gets her Q. So as of now, pretty much it's getting shoved in by Sivir and nothing too much else is happening. Both junglers are actually now in the bot lane, so there is going to be maybe some action happening, but doesn't appear to be the case. So let's talk a little bit about the build, right? So we're of course jumping straight into the gameplay, but you guys saw the build at the very beginning. Essentially, this is the normal Kai'Sa build where you go for normally Terminus, but in this case you're substituting Terminus with Triforce, and then instead everything else is going to be the same. You go for boots after that. You know, you have your Runans, your Bork, your Riftmaker, and your Twin Guard. Exact same build as normal. The only difference is swapping out Terminus for Triforce. So at first I was kind of thinking this build can't really be that good, right? Because Terminus is such a good item for Kai'Sa, and after testing like about 5 matches of this build, I do think Terminus is the way better build, right? But honestly, I just kind of needed a excuse to play Kai'Sa because I played the Triforce build and then I made content on it, so I just needed an excuse to play Kai'Sa. But after testing both builds, the Triforce build isn't bad, right? Triforce is still a very decent item, right? Over Terminus, the main thing in my opinion that it gives you is the 250 health, right? 250 health doesn't seem like a lot, but on an ADC, extra 250 health, it makes you very, very tanky. Of course, the AD and the attack speed is comparable. You also get ability haste, which you don't get on Terminus, so you do get that additional benefit, and Spellblade as well. But of course, you're losing out on the on-hit magic damage, you're losing out on the stacking penetration, you're losing out on the stacking resistances. So overall, I still think Terminus is better. Not marginally, but better by quite a little bit. Not by a whole ton though, just by a little bit. But, yeah, the Triforce build still works out pretty fine, right? And this guy who was the 7th place Kai'Sa right now was actually the 2nd place Kai'Sa at one point in time, as Leona gets an insane engage and forces the enemy Seraphine to blow all her summoner spells. Now, Sivir is now the one in a little bit more danger. I ult in to try to kill the Seraphine. Now, unfortunately, I get a little bit unlucky here, or maybe it's not unlucky, but maybe it's more so that I didn't calculate the damage properly, but I thought that I could get the kill onto Seraphine with the ult auto, but she lived on 1 HP, and I tried to run out of the tower, and I probably should just committed onto killing her, and then, because I would have died anyway, so a little bit of a mistake there. Should have definitely just committed onto the kill, and traded 1 for 1. At the end of the day, right, Nocturne picks up both of the kills, and kind of covers up for our mistakes, but that's definitely not the optimal play for me. I should have just committed, and I should have just gone for the 1 for 1 instead of realizing I can't kill and then trying to escape when there's really no way I could have ever escaped that situation. I should have just committed to the kill, as I, already mentioned. Right. So I still think Kai'Sa's a very decent champion. We'll see, because obviously at this point, the new patch is basically going to be out, like, in a couple of days' time. As Leona once again goes in. Now remember that Seraphine does not have any summoner spells from the previous engage. I am taking quite a bunch of damage from the Sivir. However, I am still able to trade back because I do have a Leona to kind of help me out here. So overall, no real big deal. So honestly, at this point, I believe that the patch is going to be out like later today, I guess, like in a couple of hours. So really, this video is kind of just some fun content for you guys. It's not really meant to, you guys are not really meant to exactly copy this build. I mean, you could if you wanted to. Probably will still work in the new patch, but there are going to be a lot of changes in the new patch. So we will, of course, we will, of course, kind of test out the builds and, make content, of course, for all the new builds and all the ADCs. Of course, crit builds are going to be really exciting. Enemy team picks up Dragon, so we're going to have to back off here. Lee Sin, yep. I mean, I'm not sure why he even tried to Q there, because obviously we're getting blocked by the minions. Now here, unfortunately, Leona kind of whiffs the engage, and Saber has Spell Shield regardless, so nothing too much is really going to happen there. Seraphine going for it to poke a little bit. Doesn't really do a lot of damage, but still a little bit of a chunk. Here, Leona once again tries to engage, doesn't really get it. Seraphine whiffs the ulti here, which is a big mistake. It takes a ton of damage. I'm going to ult finish off the Seraphine. Then we're going to focus the Saber. But unfortunately, once again, Saber with the barrier, a little bit difficult to kill, right? I mean, I think even without the barrier, I don't think we kill her. I think she actually lives on like 1 HP. But I did have flash, right? So it was possible if she didn't have barrier to flash and follow her and then try to get the kill on her. She manages to successfully complete the recall, but that just means that we are able to just get a couple tower plates, probably get about 3 tower plates or so. Unfortunately, Lux does show up, so we only end up getting 2. Third one is really close, but Lux basically one-shots the wave, so we can't really get the third one. So there's a ward in this bush, which is why we're not backing in that bush. We were going towards it, then I remembered that, of course, just now when Leona put down the control ward, we did see there was a ward in that bush, and it wouldn't have expired just yet. Also, as you can see, other than building boots as a second item, which is different from the rank 7 Kai'Sa player, I'm also building defensive boots, right? I think that defensive boots on Kai'Sa is actually really, really good, because in a lot of cases, you will always be taking a lot of damage by diving in. So, just getting that defensive boots always gonna come in handy. So here we're gonna get the last remaining few plates before the tower plates fall in 15 seconds. We're actually gonna get the entire tower. And we already got the first tower in the top lane, so that's not going to be first tower, but our team is pretty much doing well all across the board. Of course, we have leads from myself, Leona, as well as, of course, Nocturne has a little bit of lead. Syndra, about even, a little bit behind. Set, kind of similar situation, a little bit ahead, but relatively even. So, overall, my team's doing pretty well. We have just about a 2k gold lead, 1 plus 2k gold lead on the enemy team. So a really close match overall. Now, I do still think in the next patch, I do still think Kai'Sa is going to be a really decent champion. Kai'Sa has pretty much always been one of the top couple of ADCs. Even when she's not the best, like, couple, she's pretty much always going to be viable. Like, there hasn't really been a meta where Kai'Sa isn't viable. Now here we end up in a 1v1 versus Lee Sin. We don't really win the 1v1 against Lee Sin. Thankfully though, Leona is here to help out and is able to help us kill the Lee Sin. I get charmed there by Seraphine. I am pretty low, right? So I could honestly turn around and go for Seraphine. But the thing is that, of course, you saw that Lux and Sivir were rotating. So if I had done that, I definitely would have died to them when they reached the premises. Maybe not definitely, but highly likely I would have died to them. I still have my flash and cleanse after all, but I don't have my ult, and I'm also pretty low HP. So now I'm going to head back to bot lane to farm. A little bit of a wave has accumulated here, so quite a bit of gold that I can grab for myself here, like so. I'm just going to grab that one. And we're also just going to farm the jungle camp. Now, a little bit of a fight is kind of breaking our mid lane, but not exactly. So here I'm just going to kite the camp toward the red buff so that I can grab the red buff whilst I'm doing the camp to save a little bit of time. Then rotate mid where our fight is kind of fully breaking out at this point. Nocturne is ulting in. I'm trying to make my way to the fight. Nocturne goes unstoppable. Poppy's now joined the fight. I'm trying to see where I should go, and I decide to go for the Poppy because she's really the easiest target that I could go for. Set's gonna get ulted out. I make sure to stand behind him so that I don't get ulted out personally. Now Poppy is really tanky though. She has Heartsteel and she's not taking a lot of damage from me. I am just chasing her though, and I'm just slowing her with the red buff. Leona manages to kind of get the CC on her. Now, unfortunately, she's gonna escape with the help of the Blast Plant. Maybe not. Leona actually Blast Plants over, and she's still gonna escape anyways. However, she turns back and stuns the Leona, which basically kills her, right? She didn't need to do that. She could have just walked away, and we couldn't have killed her, but she basically chooses to die by turning back around and pushing Leona against the wall, which did stun Leona, but did put her back into my range when I was over the wall. Now here Lux is going for a fight against me. It's a pretty intense fight there. I'm trying to do as much damage as I can before I have to flash out, because I'm 1 HP. And although Lux and Seraphine use their spells, there is still Sivir that's DPS. So the moment Sivir gets into my range, I'm going to have to hightail it out of there so that I don't get DPS down at this low of a HP. And now I'm going to recall and pick up the Runan's Hurricane. Of course, Runan's amazing item for Kai'Sa. You can proc passive under 3 people simultaneously. We also get our E-Evolve off of this. And there's a huge wave in the bottom lane, as well as dragon spawning. So we're going to quickly take the gate down there to minimize our losses in terms of minions dying to tower. Trying to get there as fast as I can and grab all these minions. Next wave is here as well. Perfect timing. We're going to clear this out and maybe we can go for the dragon. However, our jungler and our Baron laner are dead. So a little bit difficult to contest the dragon. Enemy team is not doing the dragon, which is actually pretty surprising. So here Leona is getting engaged on by the entire enemy team. I'm trying to find a way into the fight. So here I'm just standing pretty much as far as I can and then DPSing. Then I'm gonna ult in onto the Sivir. Unfortunately, I don't really want the Poppy. I want to go for the Sivir. Leona manages to get the stun on her, get the CC. However, we are in a little bit of a tough position here. We are getting caught in the choke point and somehow I actually survive, at least for a little bit, right? Until Lux, of course, shows up and ends up killing me. But I was actually surprised I even survived the Seraphine ulti there. Like, I thought after I got ulted, I thought I would be killed instantly. But it turns out that the enemy team did not actually finish me off and I was able to kind of run away for a little bit until Lux comes in for the chase. Also, a very interesting thing to note is that Lux has some strange itemization. She has Crown first item into Lich Bane second item. And that kind of basically means that her autos are going to hurt. Like, her auto there did a lot of damage, and I was like, wow, that's a lot of damage from the auto. And then I noticed she had the Rift, not Riftmaker, she had the Lich Bane, and that obviously explains why her autos do so much damage, right? In addition to her passive damage. So here, now the top wave has kind of accumulated, so now I'm going to the top wave now to actually clear the wave. And then I'm just going to clear the jungle as well. Fight breaking on the mid lane. Nocturne ends up going down. Here I'm trying to see if I can get into the fight. I ult in. And we're going to finish the kill there. Now Poppy has really nowhere to run at all. So it's just a matter of who gets the kill. Syndra ends up getting the kill with the help of her Infinity Orb. And now we're going to go in and invade the enemy jungle. See what we can get with a couple of them dead. Of course, Lee Sin's still alive. You know, we still have the bot lane still alive. Or not the bot lane, but Sivir still alive. But we're going to grab what we can. Grab the red buff, grab the chickens. Deny the enemy team as much farm as we can. And now we're going to be farming our own jungle as well, just maximizing our gold. Nocturne's on the other side of the map, so we're just going to be here farming the blue side instead. Now, a little bit of a, I wouldn't say a fight, but Syndra is kind of getting caught out, right? And to me here, Syndra and Set, there's no reason to go and help them. Like, yes, Baron is up, but I don't really want to just run there and help because there's going to be a very odd number fight. We don't want to all end up dying. Now, Set, I know he can see all of them there, but just walking into the Baron pit like that is really, really bold. Right? So Set is getting jumped on by enemies, obviously. He goes in onto them, and me and Lina are here to back him up. Huge CC chain here. I'm going to cleanse the charm. I'm just DPSing for free here. All over, getting a triple kill. Now, I'm actually thinking this could be a Penta, right? So I'm blasting. I get the Quadra, but unfortunately, I don't survive to get the Penta. And in fact, now Lee Sin and Leona are stuck in a 1v1 with Syndra respawning. Now, Leona is really, really tanky, but she doesn't have the damage to kill Lee Sin. Lee Sin doesn't really have the damage to kill her either, at least not right now. He was about to get her, but of course, as expected, Syndra shows up, shuts the Lee Sin down, and Lee Sin pays for his greed with his life. Lee Sin, of course, the most fed member in the enemy team by far, has the same amount of gold as me. He's really, really fed. Unfortunately for him, though, despite being very fed, he cannot really kill a Leona with 2 tank items, so he is unable to complete the job and ends up dying instead. Now here with Baron up, we're pretty much forced to go to the top side. We can't really go to the bot side because Baron is up. Also, our bot side is pushing in, right? So it's really advantageous for us to draw enemy team to this side of the map because the minions are pushing in for free, right? So here, I have my ult, but I don't really want to ult in, at least not yet, because my team is not really here. It's only Leona frontlining for me. I'm just DPSing whoever is the closest target. In this case, it's Poppy. Sorry, Lee Sin. We get the Lee Sin down. Poppy is now going to be the next focus, so she's the next closest target. I'm still just DPSing whoever I can reach. However, unfortunately, I end up getting blasted by a Lux ultimate and dying. I still had ult and flash, but obviously I could not ult or flash while being rooted there by Lux, unfortunately. So I do end up dying there, which is, yep, I mean, I already said it a couple of times, it is very unfortunate, but it is what it is. And here's Set trying to ignore the enemy mages and trying to just go for the tower is not really going to work. Now, at this point, the third dragon is coming up. Although I think that, as I always say, if it's third dragon versus Baron, Baron is way more valuable. So if you can trade dragon for Baron somehow, that's going to be amazing. Even if you trade Dragon Soul for Baron, it's worth it some of the time, maybe even most of the time. Now, Nocturne is bot side, therefore I'm bot side as well, because I'm thinking we're probably going to end up fighting the dragon, seeing as, my entire team is on this side of the map. So what we may need to be cautious for is that the enemy team doesn't just sneak a random Baron while we're doing the dragon. That would be a nightmare scenario, right? You never want to trade dragon for Baron, ever. Right, so here we secure the dragon without any contest. We're now headed over towards the Baron. And honestly, taking a look at the situation now, we have like about 5k gold lead or so against the enemy team. We're decently stronger compared to the enemy team. However, I don't really know if we want to just start out Baron just like that, right? So we're just getting like vision in the area. Enemy team can't see anybody on the map, so they're probably assuming we're doing Baron, which is why they're kind of all flocking towards this area, kind of checking if we're actually doing the Baron. Lee Sin runs all the way over and pops a ward over the wall, realizes that no one is actually doing Baron, but we all are in the Baron area. Now Elder is spawning, so now we need to cross back to the bottom side of the map, right? As I remove Lux's crown, allowing Leona to engage. Leona just chains DCs. Lux basically gets one shot without actually contributing anything. I get kicked away by Lee Sin. I can ult back in, like so, and then we're just going to focus again, once again, the closest target. We're going to get the Poppy. Lee Sin and Seraphine now in the base getting blasted by my team. Of course, we cannot really overchase into their base. That's a little bit too ham. So instead, with all 5 members still alive, we can probably fall back onto the Elder and then get the Baron afterwards. Shouldn't be too big of an issue. So you and me and Nocturne are 2-manning the Elder Dragon, which is fine, because our team is distracting the Lee Sin and the Seraphine. I mean, so long as Lee Sin and Seraphine don't get anywhere close to the Elder, we should be a-okay. No chance of a steal if they're nowhere close. So here, once again, myself and Nocturne, 2-manning the Elder Dragon. We're going to be able to get it. And the next step is to go for Baron. However, there's a huge wave in bottom, and I don't want it to go to waste, so I'm just quickly clearing up this wave. So here we get the resets, like so. And we're going to be able to pick up our Rift Maker, putting us to 4 full items. And off the reset, we're going to be able to just run straight to maybe collect the Rip buff first and then head over to the Baron area. Hopefully take Baron and end the game. Pretty standard macro play for the 18+ minute mark. So both myself and Nocturne have semi-global, so if Leona engages here, me and Nocturne can join in the fight pretty quickly. So we're just kind of on standby. Syndra also making her way here, set in a flanking position. Looks like enemy team's about to get corralled here. And here Leona goes in, Nocturne is flying in, Set comes in from behind. I'm blasting everybody with the Elder. I'm not actually frontline tanking damage, but I'm tanky enough to actually survive and pick up a triple kill with the help of the Elder. My whole team survives and the whole enemy team goes down, and basically that's game. Not gonna actually need the Baron here, seeing as the entire enemy team is dead. It's a simple matter, blasting down their towers, blasting down their nexus, and taking that mark. So, anyways, with that said, I'm going to leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.